All right, welcome back here. Welcome back once again. Joseph James, School of Trade, Sideways Markets. Thanks for hanging out with me today, boys and girls. Happy Wednesday to you, 11:45 Eastern Time right now. I apologize again for not getting this done on Tuesday. I had a great hedge fund webinar on Tuesday afternoon talking about hedge funds and managed accounts at School of Trade yesterday. Had a great day in the markets yesterday morning in the trade room. We're back here once again this morning. Had a couple big clues today. Okay, first of all, you can see here, had a pretty darn good day. Right, had a pretty darn good day here this morning. Began on crude, finished on crude. We got some easy clues on crude today that basically told us to fade the breakouts on crude. So what happened was, as the price went higher on crude, we sold it. As it went lower, we bought it. Now the euro, we had a bull channel. So we tried to actually buy the euro twice at the lows of that channel and at the support. One winner, one loss. And then we had a short on the euro later on in the morning, which just didn't really get us anything, +5, -5 on it. Bottom line is, though, finished up our day here. We traded gold today. We traded crude today. We traded euro today. Had a great time learning and earning together with members this morning. 128 ticks for advanced method, 59 ticks for the fast track. Another profitable day here in the room. Now, our first clue this morning came with the news. First clue today was the news. We opened up our trade room at 7:30 this morning. We began our morning routine. And we noticed this morning the first thing was we had Big Ben and Tiny Tim hogging the spotlight again, grabbing the microphone at 9:30. Now, they were testifying today, and both of them were going to be scheduled to be in front of the microphone, so we knew the price action would probably get a little bit sloppy a little bit before and after. We also knew that we weren't going to get much news this morning. We probably weren't going to get much out of that 8:30 news. It's not U.S.-based news. It's Canadian news, right? So CAD-based news, which means it will move crude oil around. Speaking of crude, though, we were excited to get later on in the morning because we had crude inventories. So the first clue we saw today was don't be surprised if this is a little bit slow out the gate. And don't be surprised if it gets sloppy around 9:30 because we got Bernanke and Tim on the mic. Then we also knew that we had 10:30 inventories on crude, so we had to set our alarm for 10:15. We didn't want to overtrade that time of the morning. We talked about that together in real time at 10:25, and we profited from it. It was great. So first clue was expect a slow start, but expect a pretty darn good finish. Speakers up front, news to finish up. The second clue we got here this morning was from the dollar. We opened up our dollar charts, and our dollar charts today showed us support and resistance. Now, the dollar index is a very useful tool. We use the dollar in two different ways. The first way I use my dollar is to find the short-term trend. We did not have a short-term trend this morning. The second thing the dollar tells me is where we have support and resistance. And that support and resistance, in my opinion, is considered a turning point. When the dollar is at a turning point, every other market's at a turning point. Dollar at support, crude at resistance, and vice versa. So this morning, the first clue we got was the news. The second clue we got from the dollar, there was no directional bias, which means we couldn't use a directional bias. That means I can't just assume there's one direction higher percentage than the other. So fade the breakouts, buy the lows, sell the highs when there's no directional bias in the dollar. And then again, you'll notice we also marked up some levels of support below us. We found a double bottom down there. We found a price wedge, which gave us resistance above us. So the dollar index was my second clue. It told me, don't worry about a correlation for a trend. Worry about fake out breakouts. Worry about personality from the wedge. And make sure you're aware that we've got resistance overhead and support below. When that dollar's at support, everything else is at resistance, and vice versa. So just remember that. Okay. Second clue this morning was the dollar, telling me to expect fake out breakouts, telling me that when price rises, it's going to hit resistance. When price falls, it's going to hit support. Big clues there. And then going through each market, crude oil was really, really easy today, mainly because of the price structure. Now, open up your 21 range chart. Usually we got to go to a much slower time frame for this. But this morning, this is what we talked about this morning. Now, hindsight is 2020. So let's forget what we know happened. Let's go back to our blog real quickly here, though. When you go back to the blog, hit the home key, and there is your crude oil trading strategy. So this is what we put up at 8 o'clock this morning.